I'm okay with it. I'm not sure if you saw that video. If you saw it, we're going to refer to that in a few minutes. I'm going to refer to that in a few minutes. If you didn't see it, you missed some amazing dunks. I used to, back when I was younger, but nah, not anymore. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
You sound so much better in unison. Thank you for coming to our third annual Bold Leadership Conference. My name is Stephen Kent. I go by Kent. I am the Vice President of Finance and Facilities here at North Hennepin Community College. Interim President Jeff Williamson could not make it this morning. He had more important things to do. Not much more important than this, but the birth of a grandchild is pretty important. And so we let him off the hook, exactly. He wanted to be here and asked me to pinch hit for him because he couldn't be here. We believe priorities, and he has his priorities aligned the right way. Family is first. I'm new to Minnesota. I have no family members in Minnesota. So people at North Hennepin are my family. So it was easy for me to step up here and welcome you all to this third annual Bold Leadership Conference, Bold Leadership Summit, I'm sorry. And thank you for coming. Before I share a few of my thoughts, I have 3 minutes. I want to specially recognize to President Dr. John Helling, past president. He was president here from 1967 to 1990, and he is the first and longest standing president here at the college. So, good morning, Dr. Helling. And I'd like to also recognize any current or past foundation members. Can you please stand? Foundation board members. Thank you. So I got 3 minutes, and I promise you I won't be longer than 3 minutes or 33 minutes. Okay, so I want to talk about three wise people. Three wise people. Over 2,020 years ago, the wisest man to ever walk the face of the earth said, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few." I want to applaud you for being a laborer. Thank you for laboring for North Hennepin Community College. There is so much we can do, and there is not a whole bunch of us doing it. So I want to thank you for your commitment to North Hennepin Community College. Thank you for engaging students and changing their lives. Thank you for just the passion that you have to make our students' lives better and our employees' lives better, because when you have happy students, you have pretty good happy employees, because we're like, wow, we love doing what we do for these happy people. So thank you for all you do. Now, go get more laborers. The second wise person I want to talk about is President Barbara McDonald. She hired me. That didn't come out right. I got startled when I talked about, I got a little emotional and said she hired me. I wasn't saying she's wise because she hired me. That wasn't why she's wise. But I realized that's how it came out. And that's not what I'm saying. I said, she's the second wisest woman I know. And I got emotional and said, she hired me, and then it just didn't flow right. So please forgive me. I'm not trying to brag about that. But I came here for 2 interviews. I flew in for the search committee, and they interviewed me, and I was interviewing them. And it was pretty cool. And I went away. They flew me back in for another interview. I met with the open forums, and it was hectic. And some of you know what that's like, and some of you may have heard what that's like. But I've never been introduced to anything like that before in my life. And it was very draining and very exhausting. But the people here attract me so much. When she called me to offer me the job, She didn't see this. She didn't, because I'm on the phone. I'm in North Carolina. I'm doing like this. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And she's wondering, like, will you come work with us? And I'm like, can I call you back in about 3 hours? But she embarked, she said, let's go on this bold, brave journey. And we're going to change students. We're going to engage students, and we're going to change their lives. And we're going to make them successful as we are successful. We're going to put all the energy we can into making their lives better. And I accepted that challenge. And we are continuing the bold, brave journey that she has started with us, although she's gone on to another presidency. So Barbara is so wise, and I would do anything for her. And I just want to thank her publicly for bringing me on this journey with her and seeing it. We're going to continue seeing this thing forward. The wisest woman I know is my mom. Divorced mom, 4 sons, in the ghettos of Mississippi. It was tough. I was the first one in my family to go to college. I'm not bragging about that. I'm bragging about my mom because she made incredible sacrifices for us and pushed us beyond measure. 3 of her boys, all 4 went to the military. 3 retired as colonel or lieutenant colonel. And for those of you who may not know, that's like right beneath general. So her boys were uber successful. And mom said to all of us, no matter what you do, you be the very best at it. If you're going to smoke dope, smoke all the dope. Now she said, don't smoke dope, but be a bum off everybody. Be a math student, be the smartest math student. Be the best basketball player. And I wasn't basketball. I did play basketball. She said, be amazing. And I saw that video, and I said, those guys are amazing. And that's what I want us to be here in North Hennepin for our students. So I thank you for being amazing. I thank you for being a laborer. I thank you for joining us on this bold, brave journey. Without you, the ship doesn't sail. So welcome to this 3rd annual Bold Leadership Conference. And I'm impressed with your attendance. You look good. You can't see what I see. But as you come to the stage, you'll see it like, man, y'all look good. So we're going to get this thing kicked off. Please welcome Executive Director of the Foundation, Mr. Dale Fragree.
I decided to wake you up a little bit here this morning. We got some fun walk-up music today, so it's one of my favorite songs. So, when we created this this Bold Leadership Summit, the first one was in February of 2018. We did so with a vision to re-engage our alumni, rally and engage community members, and welcome students and anyone who's interested in learning more about leadership. We also see this as a great opportunity to network and to make new connections while hearing some amazingly inspired stories from our alumni and community leaders on what bold leadership means to them. The words of that walk-up song, Johnny Be Good, goes like this. It says, his mother told him, someday you will be a man and you will be the leader of a big old band. Many people coming from a miles around to hear you play your music when the sun goes down. Like Kent's mother, Johnny's mother had a vision for her son. She knew he could become a leader, and with her encouragement, along with his passion and his willingness and his drive to perfect his music, it was indeed possible. As leaders or emerging leaders, if we practice hard and keep at it despite the obstacles we face, eventually over time, we can persevere and become the best leader we can be. But it is only after all of this work that we can eventually become like Johnny Be Good. We can be the leader of a big old band, if that's what you want to be. Or maybe it's a team leader. Maybe it's a sales leader, possibly running a division of a company or a nonprofit, or maybe even in public service, running a city, a state, or even a country. Whatever it is you are or are potentially destined to be, it is during this struggle and work where bold leaders emerge. So here we are now in our third year of the Bold Leadership Summit, and I hope you enjoy this opportunity to learn, to grow, and to prosper in your leadership journey. Before moving on with the program now, please join me in welcoming our community partner who is sponsoring this third Bold Leadership Summit, New American Funding. This sponsor, New American Funding, is a large mortgage company with headquarters located in Tustin, California. It's a family-run business with over 3,100 employees servicing a portfolio of 125,000 loans totaling over $30 billion with 195 branch offices nationwide. In fact, they have offices right down the road here in Brooklyn Park, Osseo, Maple Grove, and 13 other Minnesota locations. This is quite an impressive story for a company. Inc. magazine has recognized New American Funding as one of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the U.S. And in fact, New American Funding has made this list at least 5 times. As we all know, behind any great company are the people who truly make it great by exhibiting bold leadership. And today we have a representative, Damon Mason, is back here with New American Funding, and he's actually going to be speaking this morning. So you'll get to hear from him. And so we wanted to give him a special shout out as well. Now I invite you to turn your attention to the screens, and we have a short video for you called The Chinese Bamboo Tree.
In the Far East, they have something that's called the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. They have to water and fertilize the ground where it is every day. And it doesn't break through the ground until the 5th year. But once it breaks through the ground, within 5 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? The answer is obvious. It grows 90 feet tall in 5 years. Because at any time, had that person stopped watering and nurturing and fertilizing that tree, that bamboo tree would have died in the ground. And I can see people coming out talking to a guy out there watering and fertilizing the ground that's not showing anything. Hey, what you doing? You've been out here a long time, man. And the conversation in the neighborhood is, you growing a Chinese bamboo tree, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see ain't nothing showing. You know that's how people are going to do you? So how long have you been working on this? How long have you been working on your dreams? And you have nothing to show. This is all you got to show. People are going to do that to you. And some people, ladies and gentlemen, they stop. Because they don't see instant results. It doesn't happen quickly. They stop. Oh, no. You got to keep on watering your dream. And when it began to happen, they stopped laughing. They said, look. Whoa, look here. Look out. Hey, man, you know, I know you can do it. Look here. You got a job here? See, during those hard times, we didn't know how you were going to make payroll. During those times when you failed and things didn't work out, they were nowhere to be found. But you know what I discovered? When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Oh, it's sweet to you. It's good to you. Why? See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. People know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You knew it was hard, but you did it hard.
I love that video, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Now, you may ask, what does a Chinese bamboo tree have to do with bold leadership? Well, I've got 6 bullets here. You know, taking from that, it takes time to grow leaders. It just doesn't happen overnight. You have to keep watering and nurturing it day after day. And oftentimes, you know, we may want to stop along the way. We get impatient. We find reasons to stop. And of course, then we diminish our opportunities to grow. But if we face the headwinds, we hang in there, whether it's a dream for yourself or if we are already leading others, it's our responsibility to hang in there and help them get through those headwinds. And when all of this comes together, you can see it. A leader feels 90 feet tall. And so it doesn't just happen in 5 weeks, 5 months. It could take 5 years. It could take 50 years. We're all different. But the important thing is we keep moving forward. So we've come together this morning to learn about leadership, to hear personal stories and thoughts about leadership from leaders in our community, and to celebrate leadership as we recognize also our 2020 Distinguished Alumni recipient toward the end of the program today. And I hope you will leave here today feeling inspired to serve as a bold leader, or even more importantly, to be a leader who raises up future bold leaders. So now I'd like to move on to the next portion of our program, and I want to invite Mr. Troy Nellis, our Director of Alumni Relations and Leadership and Development, to introduce our speakers. Let's give it up for Troy. Come on, Troy.
You ready? Hit it, CC.
Oh, gosh. You got to have a little bit of fun, right? Absolutely. Now I'm all out of breath. I should probably jog a little bit more, huh? So, my gosh, welcome, bold leaders, to the 3rd annual Foundation's annual Bold Leadership Summit. My name is Troy Nellis. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations and Development. And my walk-up song, right? Anybody know the artist? The Romantics. This is a little bit to my DJ days. So I was a former DJ. Favorite song of mine. I used to play this all the time when I was spinning records. But cool song because it's really about, and plus, right, weddings. You know, every wedding I've ever been to, I've heard that song for sure, including my own. But it's about relationships, isn't it? So relationships are incredibly important. It's about cultivating. It's about enhancing. It's about nurturing relationships. All great leaders do that. So, when you think about this, right, 15 leadership styles generally recognized, relational leadership is huge because it's an actual thing. It's about the well-being of your team. It's about enhancing those relationships. It's about goal setting in ways that motivates people and inspires people. So that's what that song resonates for me. It's just a fun song. But when, you look at all this stuff, and looking at our leadership summit here from our previous speakers, I want to actually acknowledge a few people in the audience today. One of our speakers, Christine Polier, was here. Christine, where are you at? She's going to be actually speaking here in a little bit. And then from 2019, Barbara Dacre and Karina Solis. Barb, I see you there. Awesome. There's Karina in the back. She's our foundation intern. She's been doing some photographs for us today, and you might remember last year she had a speech on bungee jumping, which was pretty cool. So, and also I want to recognize Lena. Lena, are you in the audience? There she is, front and center, Lena. She was our 2019 Distinguished Alumni of the Year. Lena, give it up for Lena. And Mr. Tom Miltich. Tom, are you around here somewhere? There he is, our 2014 Distinguished Alumni of the Year, Tom Miltich. So, thank you. Round of applause for all of them. And it's my pleasure now to introduce our first speaker of the morning, Mr. Damon Mason. Damon serves as the loan officer for New American Funding. As you heard earlier, he's our sponsor this morning. He also has served in the mortgage industry for 16 years and has spent his career educating customers about home ownership and the importance of buying what you can afford. Mr. Mason is also a member of the Minnesota Black Chamber of Commerce, the Minnesota Home Ownership Alliance, and the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. In March of 2018, Damon actually quit his job, pretty incredible, sold his home, backpacked across Southeast Asia, Europe and the Middle East for 6 months. Traveling reinvigorated his passion for life and the people that he serves. I've worked with Damon now for 2 years, and his passion, enthusiasm, and zest for life is absolutely infectious. His positivity and outlook is something I greatly admire. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Mr. Damon Mason.
Damon, Damon, Damon. Damon, 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 Damon. D-A-M-O-N. D-A-M-O-N.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Damon, Damon,
Thank you so much.
Damon, Damon,
So I just want to thank Dale and Troy this morning for this opportunity. And I also want to say that this would not be possible with me standing up here rather. Dean Narita Hughes is here in the house, phenomenal woman. Met her at a gala. And this woman, she did not approach me. I approached her because I can see leadership. I can sense leadership, and it's very important to me. And she definitely epitomizes leadership. So with that being said, have a few moments in front of you. A little bit of reiteration. 2018, I had a great job, have a good life, but I was exhausted. I was extremely exhausted. And I know a lot of people probably are in their careers right now, maybe be exhausted or feeling some type of way and not sure what to do with it. How do I vent this? How do I get my zeal back? So I did something crazy. I called my boss and I said, I am done. I am going to resign. He says, that's fine. He really didn't believe me. And 2 weeks passed, and true enough, I did resign. I then put my house up for sale. It sold immediately, day one. I then gave away all of the things in my home. I did not sell one thing. I did not make 1 red cent. I gave it to people who didn't have beds or furniture or what have you. And then I took 3 pair of shorts, 3 T-shirts, and then I said, I'm going to get away from all this Damon, and I'm going to, revive myself. So I took a shot straight to Southeast Asia. And I started in Bangkok, and from maybe day 2, when I touched down in Thailand, it was Damon all over again. These people didn't know me, but it was something inside of a leader that people see. They were exhausted as well. Clearly, I had more in me left to give. And I thought that I was escaping that. So all of a sudden, here I am all over Thailand. I'm all over, leave to go to Indonesia. I'm moving fast. Every single time I touch down, people are approaching me left and right, saying, hey, by the way, you just seem like somebody I can talk to. I was like, this is really interesting. I did not leave for this. I want to see the world. I wanted, to revive myself. I just want to lay on the beach and, walk through the mountains and, go kayaking, whatever I wanted to do. But I really found out that people solidify who leaders are. People do that. If someone says you're a leader, you just need to respond. That's how it works. That's how I see it. So then I turned around. I said, okay, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to switch this thing up. And so I took a flight. I went to Europe, started out in Switzerland, went through the mountains and started going all over France. I did all that. Everywhere I went, people, hey, can I talk to you? What is going on here? This is not why I left. Again, the reiteration that, guess what? Solidifying the thing that people see something in you. People constantly see something in you. You just need to respond. So after 3 months in Europe, then I leave and then I go all the way to the Middle East. I landed in Amman, Jordan. While in Amman, Jordan, guess what happened? Everybody responded the same way. It was so overwhelming. It was so overwhelming. So I thought that I had left to recharge my battery. I thought I left to literally say, you know what, now I can get back in the game again. And I never left. I never left it at all. So then all of a sudden I come back and I say to myself, I was in operations before. That means I was sitting at a desk and I was literally doing my thing. And I said, I will never do that ever again. I can't do it. So that's what I found out about myself, that I was restricting myself by sitting behind a desk, and my presence was too big for that. So I was terrified because I knew I would never sit behind a desk again. So I said, I'm going to be a loan officer. I know this industry. I know it well. I love serving people. So I became a loan officer, 100% commission, and now 7 days a week, not 5 days, not 12 hours a day behind a desk, 7 days a week my phone rings off the hook. 7 days a week. They don't care what time it is. They don't care if it's 6 a.m. They don't care if it's 11 o'clock at night. They say, hey, D, I need your help. I need you to get me through this. I'm feeling this way. Am I going to close on time? And the answer is yes, I'm going to take care of you. So over the years, I just realized one thing after doing all this traveling is that I'm thinking people train for these things. Okay, if you want to be a leader, I'm going to put you through the motions and through these courses. And I think that's great. I think that's very nurturing. But at the end of the day, it has to be in you. It has to be in you. Because people will tell you that you're a leader, and people will tell you that you're not. So it's not about the credentials so much, even though it does matter, depending on the role that you have. However, people, if they come to you and they say, guess what? You did this for me, and it changed my life. If one person says that to you, is that not enough? It's enough. That one person might be the one that touched 10,000. So I don't look for the large audiences, even though I speak all the time and I'm all over the place. I look for the one person that you can speak life into, that one person that can say, guess what? I got it now. I figured it out. And then they make the greatest impact that this world actually needs. So when people are starving, when they're starving for somebody to take the reins to lead, and you know it's in you, only thing you have to do is accept it. And I accepted that. So I'm a leader to people that need me to be. When young people reach out to me and they say, Mr. Damon or Mr. Mason, I really need this. And I say to them, have you exhausted all of your resources before you reach out to me? Because a lot of times when you have not exhausted all of your resources, you're maybe not where you want to be. Maybe you got a little bit left of thinking to do. But when you exhausted all of your resources and a real leader is standing in front of you, guess what you do? You're a sponge. You take it all in. It's no longer but. It's more like, I got it. I got it. So you can reignite a fire. And I'm just so grateful and I'm so honored that I had this opportunity to speak before you guys. And thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Yeah, I had to sneak another hug in there. Oh my God, isn't he incredible? Give it up for Mr. Damon Mason. Wonderful, amazing words, and I tell you, what an inspiration to leave a job and come back, and just your outlook is so visible to me, Damon. I mean, it inspires me to that greatness as well. Just incredible. So I'm very pleased to announce my next speaker, our second leadership speaker of the morning. I've known Michelle for over 15 years, and she is absolutely a phenomenal lady in so many ways. I talked before about relationships and how important relationships are. She is probably one of the most relational people that I know. She worked here at North Hennepin Community College for a number of years in our marketing division, but I am inspired every day by her ability to connect with people and her ability to transcend that into really, strategic action. So Michelle serves right now as the digital and social media director for the Minnesota State System. Prior to that position, as I had mentioned, she was the Media and Public Relations Director. That's actually was her title, where she completed the Loma Leadership Academy and received a Medallion Award for Excellence in Service. She's a proud NHCC alumnus who earned an Associate of Arts and an Individualized Associate of Science focusing on multimedia communication with honors. She also took part in Phi Theta Kappa and received TRIO's prestigious Achievers Award. She then transferred to Concordia University and earned a bachelor's in Marketing Innovation Management. I mean, look at this resume. Michelle is also a member of our Alumni Leadership Council on campus, which has really been a boon for us, a huge benefit. She's also an executive team member of the National Council for Marketing and Public Relations, board member for the YMCA's McCorvey Center, and the Santa Foundation's annual gala, plus much more. You know, the best part of her career for her is meeting and writing and sharing success stories about student leaders, something we've tapped for our council for sure, through the various mediums. She also loves music, traveling, and gardening. Woman after my own heart. I love gardening myself. Michelle is a go-getter. She's got a genuine talent for connecting with people, as I said, and I've had the pleasure of working with her for a number of years, and I always look forward to our conversations. Please help me in joining and giving a warm welcome to Miss Michelle Lee Good. You know, when I heard this song, I'm like, this is totally Michelle. God, dust your shoulders off, keep it moving. Yes, Lord, time to get some douche. In there, swim wet, going to the poosh.
The edited version. You know what? I picked that song because I love Lizzo's confidence. I love her confidence, and she's from Minnesota, so I thought I would represent. Good morning, NHCC. Truth is, I'm really nervous being up here. So unlike Lizzo, that's kind of like my alter ego, but I'm really nervous being up here. I'm used to being behind the scenes making magic. You know, I'm a writer. I like to bring out stories in others and making others shine, not so much me. And so that's my thing. That's what I'm really good at. But NHCC called me. And I'm here because when you have like a calling, you should do that. You should answer the calling and answer the calling. What I mean by that is listening really closely, answering it, and doing it, even if it makes you scared. And so, so here I am, front and center, you know, and it's a scary, really scary honor to be here today. I do. Thank you for having me. So how did I make it to this stage, this NHCC stage, this stage in life? It took way longer than the 5 minutes I was given to be up here. But I'll give you the Cliff Notes. It was hard. You know, I was 16 when I became a mother. And like many NHCC students who had barriers and overcame obstacles, I didn't believe I had the means to go to college. The money, you know, the time, the daycare, the transportation. Plus, no one in my family went to college or encouraged it. So I didn't believe I had anyone to turn to show me how. So I didn't go. I didn't go to college because I didn't believe I could. That is until I made a bold move. I changed my mind and believed I could. I didn't know all the answers, but I decided I was going to college. I knew I was capable and worthy of being more, and certainly knew I wanted more. And at that particular time, I just didn't want to struggle anymore. But it took me 18 years to get there. because I was busy working, working multiple, low-paying jobs, raising my son. So I waited to go back to college to earn the degree because I felt that his needs came first. And had I known, however, that there were resources and people out there that could help, I would have definitely went to college sooner, as soon as possible, and would have benefited sooner and would have been able to give back sooner. You see where this is going? When I envisioned wanting and having better and decided I was going to take action to get it, that's when things started to fall into place. The first set of actions were simply picking up the phone, calling the college in my community, this one, asking, what do I need to do to be a student? Driving by the campus, parking, entering the building, and talking to an advisor about what degree programs do you have? This is what I'm interested in. Applying for financial aid, including scholarships, and receiving them from perfect strangers. Getting help with math from super smart trio advisors, because I had a lot of rust. I knew how to count money I didn't have, but college algebra, I needed tutoring, and they gave it to me, and I passed with an A. Whatever I was struggling with, I would just ask someone my questions, and eventually would get the answers or help I needed to get a step closer to what I wanted. Again, I didn't know it all, and I didn't need to. You never need to know it all. You just need to know what you want and why. I wanted to go to college because I believed it would lead me to a rewarding career and better lifestyle for myself and family. I wanted to study communications because I loved to write. I was fortunate to accomplish both these goals at NHCC, having received a communications degree and working in the communications office. But I ultimately received so much more. I discovered hidden talents, my purpose, and the best people on the planet. And that's a blessing. It truly is. Here's what I mean, though, about the hidden talents and finding my purpose. Again, I knew I loved to write. I knew that part. But I didn't realize I was good at getting people to share their stories with me until I was practicing it in my career. I was always nerdy when it came to books, and proud of it, by the way. But never thought I would be a hybrid techie and love it. Like, I can read code now. That wasn't what I intended to do. I learned my purpose was to use my talents and platforms to share stories, to inform, inspire, and help others. And I never would have known, but found out there were will always be great NHCC students, employees, and supporters. One of the most inspirational pieces I wrote and wanted to leave you with today was about the late, great Howard Olson. He was a student of Minnesota State University, Mankato, an original member of NHCC's science faculty, and an avid supporter of the college. His philosophy on life that stuck with me was simply learn, earn, and return. So others who follow could learn, earn, and return. So others that follow could earn, learn, and return, and so on. A good leader inspires new leaders, and that's what bold leadership means to me. Thank you.
Wow, I think Michelle found a new purpose. That's being in front of crowds and speaking and sharing your inspiring story. Thank you, Michelle. Oh, no, you did well. You did well. Thank you very much. So I have the pleasure now of introducing to you Wendy Hansen. She is a 2011 alum here from NHCC, and as a student, she served as president of the Student Senate. She was a member of the Honors Program. She was a recipient of the Student Life Excellence Award here, as well as the Community College Academic Excellence Award. And she received several academic scholarships. After graduating from NHCC, she went on to earn a BS in Business, Entrepreneurial Management, Nonprofit Administration from the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota, and didn't stop there. She went to get a master's degree in Business Administration and Management from Bethel University. In her professional career, she served 9 years as the family life pastor at the Church of the Open Door. And since 2014, she served as the vice president of marketing with Mobile Accept, an information technology and services company. Since 2011, Wendy has been on the NHCC Foundation board, and she has a talent for problem solving, improving processes, and is a champion for causes that she believes brings value to society as a whole. So with that, let's give it up for Wendy Hansen.
I let them pick the song, so I didn't know what they would pick. I don't know. Hey, good morning. I hope you're all waking up. I am officially the Michelle Lee Gooden fan club member. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Okay, just I wanted to talk about a little weirdness about me, just to kind of, and they do these big accolades of these bios, and whatever, But, so, you're all familiar with idioms, right? Like, that's the way the cookie crumbles, or that's the way the ball bounces. Well, I have this knack, this gift for mashing them together. Does anyone else do that besides me? Okay, so they actually, at work, we have the Slack channel, which is sort of like a combination of Facebook with SharePoint for work, okay? So they actually have the Wendyism channel. And so, like, I have, like, hoot your own horn. We're married at the hip. I used to have a memory like a tack. And then later on I go, no, I meant I used to be as smart as a pin. Okay. Instead of saying a burr under the saddle, I said there's a spur under the saddle. I don't know where I got that one. One time I was feeling a little overwhelmed. I said the walls are caving in. I'm jumping at the bit. I don't know. I'm jumping. Juggling plates. That's a pretty good one, don't you think? I mean, it kind of works, right? I mean, I'm thinking I might need to write a book on this. Okay, but then I was feeling like I really was a novice at something, and I said, I'm really feeling green behind the ears. Okay, all right. What I'm going to talk to you today about is that small decisions can change the trajectory of our lives. So picture that big $1 million word, right? You're kind of going down one path, and then something happens in your life, and it completely changes the direction of your life. Has that happened to you? Yes. Right. So I am not sure what I want to do. I'm a student here at North Hennepin, and I was avoiding math like the plague. I even took the logic course so I could avoid the math class, right? Rusty wouldn't even be the word I would use for it. But I thought maybe I'd be a social worker, so I went to Dr. Elena Bleisfeld's office. She was the dean of math at the time, and I said, hey, can I just skip the algebra class? so that I can take the statistic class? And she goes, no. She says, no, I really think you're going to benefit by taking the math. Well, of course, back then, what that meant is I had to take those little tests you take, and I had to go all the way back to pre-algebra, then to take the algebra so that I could take the statistics. So, kind of delayed this growth plan for me, right? Talk about 5 years of craziness. So anyway, I had to go back. But unbeknownst to me, the requirement to get into Carlson was calculus. Her pushing me made the door stay open for me to be able to even get into that school. If I had avoided that, it never would have happened. Have you ever asked yourself another question? Have you ever regretted taking the hard path? You go back, man, I wish I would have taken the easier course. Do you ever look back at your life and go, no, she helped me get on that journey? So I'm walking down the hallway one day, and I'm looking at this poster, and there's this opening to run for the Student Senate here at North Hennepin, and I was like, that would be interesting. And I'm just standing there, and I'm not going to really do anything about it. And Dr. Deanna Forsman, my history teacher, sees me there, standing there, and she says, what are you looking at? And I go, I'm this poster. And she says, well, why don't you run for president? I go, really? She says, you should do that. You should run for president. One little seed, one little push, right? So but you see, what happens is you have to take that first step. So I had to haul my ass over to the Student Senate and ask, what's required? Well, you need to get signatures. Okay, well, why don't you just take the piece of paper in case you decide to want to run? So now that sits in my notebook for a little while, and then I'm sitting in class, and I kind of share with the person next to me, oh, I'll sign that. So pretty soon, I get enough signatures. Again, the little decisions that we make. It takes a lot of courage sometimes, but here's what you keep in mind. It's just one little decision at a time. Can push us in a completely different direction. So here's my challenge for you and me. How can we be people that can help someone else change the trajectory of their life? So I'm going to close with a quote from John Crosby, and this is that reminder. Mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy, for your inspiring thoughts and your challenge this morning to us. Appreciate that. So I have now the pleasure of introducing our next speaker, Lisa Jacobson. She's a Brooklyn Park City Council member. She serves as Director of Development at Cambria Hills and as a consultant to other organizations, among a few other things, but we don't have time to go into all of those. But she does have over 30 years of nonprofit and corporate leadership experience in award-winning organizations across the Twin Cities community. Lisa has focused her work in the areas of fundraising, community engagement, marketing, communications, strategic planning, continuous improvement, operations, and program expansion. Boy, we got a lot of the same things going on over the last 30 years. But if you talk to Lisa, you will know how passionate she is about young people, as most of the organizations she has served have been youth-focused. She lives in Brooklyn Park with her husband, John Jacobson, and they have a blended family with 7 children. Busy household. And I know that she's excited to welcome a new grandchild, too. Maybe she'll share that with you. I don't know yet, but it's on the way, right? It's on the way. Okay. She's active in her community with the Brooklyn Park Rotary, the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast Community Foundation, and the Lions Club. In her spare time, I don't know where that is, she owns an online women's boutique business. She dances for the Minnesota Timberwolves senior dancers. And maybe she'll show us a couple of moves, I don't know. And much more. So please help me in giving Lisa Jacobson a warm welcome this morning.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Come on, show us. Come on.
Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way.
You have to pay for that ticket. March 8th will be the next show.
Clap along if you feel.
So I am happy to be here with all of you today. Dale said I was the cleanup crew. I don't really know what that means. Oh, okay. So as I look out, I see many familiar faces and many that are not familiar to me. Hi, Sam. I see a young person that I have mentored for many years, huh, Caitlin? Who is a student here. But I'm always wanting to meet new people. This is my community. This is the place that I call home. This is where I raised my children. And serving on the city council was something I said I would do once nobody was looking for dinner anymore. And so when they all grow up and fly away, this is what I do, right? So when I was asked to speak here today, for probably the first time ever, I had to take a step back and think about my life as a leader. It's an interesting exercise. If you've never done it, I recommend you do. One thing that I want to point out in the beginning is that you don't really ever have an opportunity to register to be a leader. As was stated earlier, you either have leadership abilities or you have no interest in being a leader. I know very successful people who want to be in the background and work hard, but not lead. As I was doing the speech for my husband last night, he said, "That's me," because that is. He's the quiet and shy one. So I am a Timberwolves senior dancer, and there are definitely people in my group who like to be in the back row. They go to the back row on purpose. Not me. I want to be in the front row. I want to be the leader. I take it seriously. We're literally out there for 60 seconds. But when we come out, people go crazy because we're kind of old and we do hip hop. But I love that spot of leadership. So I grew up with a mom who I would not categorize as a leader because she never really left our home. She stayed home to take care of us. She cleaned all day. We had the patterns of vacuum in our carpet every day. But is the picture up yet, Brittany? So she always told me that I was a leader, not a follower. But I didn't really get it. To a kid in a purple dress with a bow on her head that was way too big, I didn't know what that meant. But once again, my mom was right. The first time I can remember leading anything, I was 9 years old, and I wrote a letter. Do you guys in the back know what that is? Writing a letter, because we didn't have any other way, right? To the Muscular Dystrophy Association to get one of their backyard carnival kits. Some of you are nodding because you did it too. Once I received the kit, I organized my neighbor friends to put on this carnival in my backyard. And I still remember that we raised and sent in $4.15. I know, right? That was 45 years ago. And the ironic thing about this, I never thought about it until getting ready for this, is that I've spent the majority of my adult life doing that very thing. As a nonprofit event planner and fundraiser, I was being a leader back then, and really it was laying the groundwork for my future. But while many people up here have talked about the positive aspects of leadership this morning, I am here to say that aspiring to lead can sometimes have a dark side too. So I want to leave today for you with 7 things to do and not to do, or to keep your eye out for. I feel like as the old woman up here, I can do this. So number 1, as a leader, your purpose is always to contribute. So you should own your role as a leader. Don't get lost behind the curtain. Step out and take center stage. Even if it's in front of 12,000 people on the court at a Timberwolves game, own it. Sometimes stepping out on that stage, like the one I'm on today, can cause you to pause and say, do I have the confidence to say anything that's going to resonate with anyone here? Believe in yourself. Your leadership is something you need to believe in first. So check yourself on that. Number 2 is be ready for 2 things to happen when you're a leader. You will absolutely have those who respect you as a leader. They will follow you. They will love to get affirmations from you. They want to back you up as a leader. But there are also going to be people who have 0 interest in being led. Those who believe things were just fine before you got here, and they're unwilling to embrace and accept you as a leader. So the third thing is, if and when those who don't respect you start having a louder voice than those who do, then you need to have the guts to make a change. You may need to do as I have done recently and walk away from a leadership position. This position for me was literally a huge part of my identity. And I walked away, and now I'm creating a life by design. I figured out what I want, what I'm best at, and I am taking the steps to get that. But I had to dig deep to find the courage to confront my fears, to state my value, and then see if people would actually believe in my value and pay for my value. I had myself on the back burner for far too long. Have any of you ever done that? Maybe some of you are doing it now. None of us deserve to be on the back burner of our own lives. So number 4, keep a confidence log. You can call it a diary. I call it a confidence log. So write about things from your past, hurts, wins, where you exuded confidence, so that you can always look back and draw on that. I have this private group on Facebook, a group of ladies in my life, many of whom don't know each other, but every day I post an inspirational quote to inspire them to have a great day. But so often, whatever it is I'm posting helps me more than anything. It's coming from places of my own life, what's happening with my relationships, my work. I actually wrote on here my works, because I have so many jobs. My leadership, all of those things. Which leads me to the next one, number 5. Fill your own cup first. Figure out your winning ritual, time that is yours as you set your day up for winning. Those of you who know me know early morning is not really my thing. But it means I have figured out how I have to start the day to have a great day. My winning ritual starts with a cup of coffee out of one of my favorite mugs with amazing cream that I know is not good for me, but that's okay. I take my vitamins. Maybe for you, it might be a fitness component, watching a motivational video, reading an intention of the day. But I think that's how we have to start our days, kind of level setting to face whatever's to come. Never stop developing yourself personally and professionally. But I also want to warn you that personal development has its limits too. Because if how-tos were enough, we would all be rich, skinny, and happy. Because we can read all the books in the world, that's the easy part. But then what? So start your day with gratitude for the things that you have and the things that you're aspiring to have. Ask for strength and courage, because I can only control so many of the things in my life. So affirmation is critical to your success as a leader. And this is an important part. Talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself. I catch myself sometimes thinking about bad things that have happened to me. Why am I doing that? That's not serving me any purpose. So check yourself throughout the day. Catch yourself doing that and correct it. So ask yourself, what am I doing now? What do I want? And if I'm going to get there, what needs to shift? I'm at point A, and this doesn't serve me. I want to be at point B. So what do I need to do to get there? So think about that. Number 6. Sometimes you have to take a hard look in the mirror and face your doubt and your fear within, the voice that tells you it's not possible, the voice that questions, who do you think you are to think you are a leader? Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, how can you ask someone else to believe in what you're doing? When you show up and you are all in and you have that posture about you, that's what will get people to follow you. So who do you surround yourself with? Who is in your circle of influence? Of course, that evolves over time as you become a leader. I think to myself, who are the people that I genuinely want to be connected with? Because who you hang out with is who you are in the eyes of others. As a leader, obviously, you must know and be in relationships with many different people in your day-to-day. But who do you hang out with on the weekends? Are they inspiring and encouraging you, or are they bringing you down? Can you be who you truly are without fear of judgment? But people around you who are like, heck yes, you go, girl. Cheering you on, elevating you. Maybe you just need one true accountability partner. It's always a great idea to grow your network daily. Get involved in the community. Whether that's here at North Hennepin, there's many, civic groups in the community. I mean, the list is long only because I love knowing more people. And so in order to do that, you have to tap in and show up to those things where the people are. So expanding your network is an important part of being a leader. So the last thing, number 7, is accept that failing forward is part of your journey. I have failed as an employee, as an employer, as a kid, as a mom and a stepmom of a kid or 2 or 7, as a student. Many people don't know this, but I went off after high school to St. Thomas, and I always say it was like letting a caged animal out for the first time, because I lived in a very strict house, and suddenly they weren't watching me. And I did not do well. I was not a leader in college. That is a dark time of my life, and quite honestly, many times when I think back, I'm surprised that I'm still here today. It was that dark. So failure is part of the deal. But I keep showing up day after day. So think about not what isn't working, but how can I make this work? And you may still make a decision to walk away from whatever it is that you're doing, but only after you've done whatever it took to get to the day where you make that decision. If you want something, figure out how to make it happen. So go out and lead and make a difference in your life and in others every single day. Thank you.
My gosh, what about that leadership conference here this year? I'll talk about our speakers. Another round of applause. Lisa Jacobson, I tell you, my heart fills, and there's so much more I'd like to say, but the reality is, a part of leadership, right, a trait for sure is punctuality. So we got to keep this going right for you folks. So here we go. This is a huge part of our program, which is the Distinguished Alumni of the Year. You guys notice that a number of our distinguished alums are here with us today. Inspiring because this is a huge, huge honor. And the reality is, I wanted to share a little bit about how this comes together. So it's service to profession, your community, and your alma mater. Bottom line, our Alumni Leadership Council was very engaged with this. It was a very deliberative process. But time and time again, it really came back to just these thoughts for us of our Distinguished Alumni of the Year. And really, when we voted on this, one alumni really came from the pool based on her extensive leadership career, her commitment to North Hennepin, of course, her involvement with the Alumni Leadership Council on campus. It's been a godsend to have her as a part of our council, and her dedication to the community. And she served as a mentor in a number of areas, including Best Prep, the Althea Foundation, and the Maritime Corporation. So I'd like to talk about our Distinguished Alumni of the Year right now. Christine Polier first came to North Hennepin Community College in 1983. She earned a certificate and continued taking a lot of classes all the way up through 1993. You hear about lifelong leadership and lifelong learning. That's Christine to a T. During her time here, she studied accounting and finance. She did computer science and management. And she was juggling a ton of commitments, but she really handled it with amazing finesse. And I'm going to share and leave that part for her as she talks about this, but I do want to celebrate a couple of things. One big thing, a huge, long, successful career at Cargill. She actually went on to earn her Minnesota Management Institute executive education degree from the Carlson School of Management, which you've heard referenced here today. Christine has traveled the world. That career at Cargill brought her to Brussels for 3 years, leading over 300 global team members scattered over 40 countries across continents and managing multi-million-dollar budgets. After leaving Cargill in 2016, Christine is now the founder, inspirational, and CEO of Evicent Coaching. And I'm going to save those parts for her because I think that's an amazing story in itself. As I said, Christine's been with us since the beginning. She came to our first Bold Leadership Summit. She's been here ever since. We had to have her, of course, speak at one of our recent Bold Leaderships. But one of the most enjoyable things that I get to do as an alumni director here at the campus is celebrate and recognize our alumni. Therefore, it's with great distinction and honor that I now invite Christine Polier to come please forward to come and receive your 2020 North Hennepin Community College Distinguished Alumni of the Year. This is my honor to do this. Gotta get it right for the photo. Christine Polier.
How many of you seen that movie from this song? It's The Greatest Showman. So for those of you who haven't seen the movie, I want to tell you a little bit about it. The woman that sings that song is the bearded lady from the original Barnum Circus. And what she talks about is how she was labeled and judged and put in a box. Who of you has ever been labeled, judged, or put in a box? Maybe because of what you look like, maybe because of where you came from, maybe just because of what people assume about you. What's the impact that has on you? Sometimes it can be good, and sometimes it can be really devastating. What I want to do today is tell you a story about another young girl. She was labeled, judged, and put in a box. She was shy and quiet and introverted. She really didn't fit in with most of the kids in her small town high school class. You see, she was a farm girl, and she didn't have the opportunity to participate in extracurricular activities and band and sports and things like that, which were places where people got together and connected with friends. You see, she had to be home to help out on the farm, to help with chores as part of the family. It was important. The other classmates, they didn't really like her. She was an outcast, and she was called names. She didn't have very many friends, and the few that she did have were actually not really great role models. Some of them encouraged her to try shoplifting. Some of them drank. Most of them smoked. And some of them tried some other stuff, too. She actually didn't fit in very well with them either because she was actually afraid to do some of that stuff. One day after turning 16, she was invited with some neighbor kids to go with them to a get-together. Their cousin was leaving for boot camp. And for the first time ever, she'd been given permission to actually go along with from her parents. See, that was a big deal because she'd always been in the box of the unpopular. She'd been 16 years old and there were no boys interested in her, and she'd never been on a date. So she was excited to go to this gathering at the cousin's house. And when she went there, she found out that this boy who was heading off to boot camp, he was actually interested in her. He found her a little attractive, and that was kind of exciting for her to see that somebody actually was interested in her as a girl. He'd been drinking, and he decided that he was really interested in showing his affection to her. That got pretty uncomfortable because she'd never been with a boy and really didn't like the advancement. It was too much. He was taking it too far. He actually got her in a car, and she was scared. She didn't know how to stop his advancements. And she didn't have the courage to know how to say, just stop. And so in the end, she let it happen. That night changed her life forever. A month later, she found out that she was pregnant. And she was terrified. She knew her dad would be very angry. Her mom would be sad. Both of them would be extremely disappointed in her. And they would never understand what had happened that night. She wanted a way out. She didn't want to tell anybody. She didn't want anybody to know. But those options were terrifying as well. That boy went away to boot camp. And so she wrote him, because yes, that was the means of communication back then. He said he liked her and he'd marry her. She didn't know this guy, not really. She'd just met him. But she thought it was the right thing to do. It would be better than going it alone. She was just starting 11th grade when she got married. She moved to Washington State. where he was stationed after boot camp. Now here came a new box, and this box was the pregnant teen. The labels and judgments came from people all around. Promiscuous, loser, failure. She will never be successful. People talked about her. Family, strangers, everybody made up a story about how she got into this situation and what would happen to her now. This is me. I had always wanted to go to college. I had dreams of becoming an accountant and getting my CPA. That was where I was going to be. Now it felt like everything was impossible. I felt judgment. The judgment inside of me just had me screaming. It was like, no, you don't know. You're wrong about me. From this place, I knew that I had a choice. I could stay in this place and be a victim, or I could figure out how to move forward. While pregnant and living in Washington, I found an alternative school where I could attend classes both while I was pregnant and after with my son. When my son was only 9 months old, my husband deployed to Germany, leaving us behind. I moved back home and I rejoined my 12th grade class. I went on food stamps, welfare. I worked part-time as a waitress while I was attending school. My husband never sent any money home. He had one reason or another, always about why he couldn't. Although I was a credit short, I was allowed to walk into my graduation ceremony with my high school class. Later that year, I finished my classes and I got my high school diploma. After high school, I moved in with my sister in a tiny little trailer, and I found work in a local factory. Later that year, my husband came home from Germany, and I thought I should try to make this work. I should really, right? It's the right thing to do. I'd made the commitment. During that week that he was home, he gave me 2 more things. He gave me an STD and another baby on the way. When he left, I knew that it was time to make a break. I filed for divorce, and I was scared, but I knew I couldn't keep going like this. So here I was, a single mother of a 1-year-old and a new baby on the way. A friend of my sister's husband became a good friend and supported me through that pregnancy and the delivery of my second son. Now I was 19 years old with a 2-year-old and a brand new baby. I wanted to make something more of myself. Not that being a mom wasn't important, it was really important to me, but I also knew there was something else. I wanted to have adult conversations. I wanted to prove something. Maybe I wanted to prove it to everybody, but actually, as I think about it, I know that what I really wanted to do was prove it to me, that I could be something more than that. So I began looking again. I looked for work in the accounting space because that was the area where I always felt comfortable. I went to the local workforce center and found an accounting clerk job, and I thought, oh, this is it. It looked just great. This is a job for me. And the counselor there actually said, well, you know, that job is with Cargill, and they're really picky. They're probably not going to hire you. Great, cheerful advice. I applied anyway. And when I went for the interview, I don't know if any of you know Cargill or know where it's based in Wayzata, but it's got this beautiful manicured lawn, set back in the woods. And as I drove in there for my interview, I thought, oh my God, he's right. They're not going to hire me. This, high school degree, pretty uneducated, this place looks really intimidating. I'm just a farm girl. What am I doing here? I was so intimidated, actually, that when I got there, they made me take alphabetizing tests. That's what you do when you get hired for a clerk job, right? And a math test, and it was timed. I got math, right? I couldn't remember 4 times 4 for anything. I was counting on my fingers and my toes. I failed the math test. I was so intimidated by the whole process and this place. I begged, I got an interview, and they let me come back the next day and take the test over again. I said, please, really, this doesn't reflect my capability. Thankfully, they gave me that opportunity. I was offered the job, and I started the very next Monday. This is where I began my career, October 27th, 1980. I was a single mom, 19 years old, with a 2.5-year-old and a 6-month-old son. I was blessed to have a 35-year career with Cargill, a career that gave me experiences and growth that I never dreamed of. And it was not an easy path. Starting in an hourly clerk role didn't exactly pave the path to a leadership role. In fact, there were many that felt without a college degree that I would never be more than an hourly employee. Now I was in another new box, the uneducated box. After a few years, I learned that the IT department actually had a program that would allow hourly employees, non-degreed employees, to be able to move into a salaried level role. The requirement was that I needed to take some college level programming courses. Enter North Hennepin. North Hennepin was here for me, the untraditional student, a place for me that I could go in the evenings after work, that I could take classes bit by bit in a way that allowed me to do that. It had a traumatic impact on my career because of the way in which you offered courses here and allowed me to really expand my career. During this time in my career, I also remarried that friend who'd supported me during my pregnancy, and I had my third son by the time I was 24 years old. I was actively involved in Women of Today and volunteering for over 15 years, serving at the chapter, district, and state level. I was working full-time, traveling globally, going to school at night, raising 3 sons, and volunteering. Good Lords, I don't know how I ever did all of that back then. At work, there was still a challenge around every corner. There were still people in the company who doubted my ability to move into any advanced roles. Thankfully, there were also some allies and some champions who opened doors for me and gave me opportunities to stretch. Back at home, things were also challenging. My husband became verbally abusive and physically bullying. And after 17 years of marriage, I knew I had to leave that one too. I was teaching my sons that behavior like that was acceptable, and it's not. I've had many highlights and lowlights, as you can imagine, in a long career like mine. As Troy said, I lived abroad for a number of years, and I've traveled to over 4 countries. Global travel grew me immensely. I learned so much about the world, but I also learned a lot about me. Twice in my career, I had to apply for my own role, and it was given to somebody else because they thought they had a better opportunity to grow. The most challenging work I did at Cargill was the last couple of years when I led a global team of staff in the midst of the decision to outsource the work that they did. So I led this team as they transitioned their work to a third-party provider, needing to keep them educated and productive, while I knew in the end they would be redeployed within the company or outside. That also meant me. There would be no role for me on the conclusion of that adventure. So after 35 years, I said goodbye to embark on a new adventure. I started my leadership development company with little understanding of what it takes to build a business or a brand in the marketplace. There were times when I doubted, once again, my ability. Could I really be successful? I didn't have years in HR. I didn't have a career in learning and development. I surely didn't have a PhD in psychology. So would I be credible? Could I really be successful? The saboteurs can be really strong. I leaned into a phrase that my dad used to say all the time. Where there is a will, there is a way. That carried me, and here I am 4 years later with a business that is growing and thriving. I've raised 3 grown sons who married great women, and I have 6 grandchildren from the age of 21 to 3. I've learned so much about leadership through my life's journey. I've learned that there are amazing, beautiful people all around the world, in every corner. I've learned that to be a leader, you must first and foremost put people first and care about them. I've learned that leaders come in all shapes and sizes, from all walks of life, and sometimes from really unexpected places. I've learned that the road isn't easy. There are missteps and sidesteps and backward steps and falling down and picking yourself back up, and all of them shape you. I've learned the critical importance of allies and surrounding yourself with people who believe in you, that can hold you up when you really doubt. In those early years, I found success despite my journey. Now I know that I actually have success because of my journey. It shaped me, and I am who I am today because of the mess, the difficult road, the challenges of it all. I am brave. I am bruised. I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Thank you.
That is so inspirational. The determination, the perseverance, you can actually feel that in your bones, Christine. Oh my gosh, wow, thank you. And I salute all of our leaders today. Incredible. Damon Mason, Wendy Hansen, Lisa Jacobson, Michelle Good, and Christine Polier. Please, a round of applause for our amazing leadership speakers. So we're a little bit over, and I apologize. I'm going to try to wrap this up real quickly here. So you might wonder about, kind of where this inspiration comes from, right? Last year, we focused on an eagle, which symbolizes leadership in so many ways, having that powerful vision, being fearless and nurturing. This year, we decided on a beautiful panda. So there's the panda. That's a gift for all of you. Cute, right? But, when you think about a panda, there's one thing that they do, and they eat a lot of bamboo. They definitely do so much that it's 14 hours a day that they're spending eating this bamboo, 27 pounds of it, making up their entire diet. And you might say, well, what does that have to do with leadership? Well, it's really the idea that if we indulge ourselves for 14 hours a day, training all the time relentlessly, could we be a bold leader? I think so. Finally, really a panda's true traits are the idea of patience, being peaceful and gentle, having strength, positivity, and that calm determination. So that's why we symbolize the panda this year. And I want to just wrap this up by saying, when you leave today, I'd like you to see Laura Brandt in our back here. We've got a couple of tables. We're doing a heritage garden here on campus. It's a commemorative and it's a beautification of the campus right behind the Carillion Bell Tower. There are paver opportunities for purchase. All money support student academic support, scholarship monies, random act of kindness, institutional grants, all going back to the students. We also have our third annual golf event, June 22nd in beautiful Edinburgh, USA. So stop by and see Laura in the back and check out some of that information. Grab some brochures. The foundation is incredibly proud of our events, and we hope that you can participate in some of those as well. So on behalf of North Hennepin Community College, the North Hennepin Community College Foundation, we'd like to thank all of our speakers once again. What a roster. Please stick around if you'd like. We've got some coffee. We've got some food in the back. I want to thank again New American Funding and Mr. Damon Mason for your sponsorship. And finally, pick up your panda bear. And thank you for being here today. It was a wonderful day. Come back and see us for our 4th annual Bold Leadership Summit.